Hey, good evening, good evening. We got four people popping up already to this hot program, the hottest program in the galaxy. I say it is. And with this hot lady next to me, she makes me hot just by standing next to me. Oh my goodness, what can I say? So, what does hot mean on taking the journey as we're starting already? What is it?
Hot does not mean that you make me,
Mm-hmm.
but which you do.
Okay.
But hot is honest, open, and transparent when you are working to build and maintain a thriving or healthy relationship.
Exactly. That's what it means. So, hey, why don't you tell us what this show is all about, taking the journey together for those who are new to our show or those who have been in before. We definitely want you to get back on track with us. What's taking the journey? What's it all about?
Taking the Journey Together is a show that talks about or deals with interpersonal relationships and cohabiting. And what we like to say at Taking the Journey Together is we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother, father, sister, brother, uncle, auntie, or even Jesus says, we are going to relate. But what we do at Taking the Journey Together is we work towards instilling in people the way to relate in a balanced way. And by balanced, we mean when you start a relationship, you start it first by building a friendship relationship, and then you take that and you continue to build on it. And as you build on it, it becomes a committed relationship
Mm-hmm.
and a lovership, and you move into that committed relationship with your friend and your lover, and you don't have to choose between the two.
Yes, definitely don't have.
Take that same person home to mother and father.
I could say what a new kind of evolutionary thought that in a relationship you could probably have, or at least create a friend and a lover and a partner in your
in,
relationship.
in the same
And
person.
yeah, it's the same place.
Imagine that.
Exactly, yeah, and that is what we're trying to do. Not only imagine, but give you the kind of information, the kind of knowledge, the kind of what we call what did you call it before?
Insight.
Yeah, insight
Okay.
to help build you to make that actually happen. And remember, anything in life that you're doing that's something new, that's something inspirational, especially if something spiritual, it's an on-the-job training. It's something you create as you go. It's not something that you in turn then study and then think about and then you do. No, it's being created as you
Yes,
go, like
exactly.
a on-the-job training. And so, training in this case, when it comes to taking the journey, is all about building that foundation
Mm-hmm.
of trust that's based on friendship. So
Yes.
that's that main important thing
And you got
today.
to take hot all the way through it.
Exactly. Now, before we go, let's pop up about our hot button that you just said real quickly. Why
Yes,
don't you
which
talk about that? We don't have one with us, do we?
no,
Uh-oh.
no.
Well,
I meant to grab one and
mhm,
I forgot.
you forgot.
I forgot.
Yeah, well, we're actually someplace else. We have another secret taking the journey cave
It's,
that we're at
it's like the
doing
journey
this show.
cave.
Exactly. It's another taking the journey cave that we're actually doing this at.
Yes.
But anyway, tell a little bit about the hot button and, of course, what it means for those who are just coming on. Make sure you share to your friends, share to your neighbors, share to your enemies, share for that new person that you may want to get into a relationship with, long-term relationship or marriage, or like some preachers say, hey, make sure that maybe you can take the information, put it in your deep freezer of life, and one day you have to pull it out.
Yes, yes. And that's one of those things that we're doing. But anyway, the hot button, it's a nice little pin that you can put on you and you walk around with it. It says HOT and taking the journey together, which of course I don't have one on here, but it would be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of jumps out and you can notice it, and it's just one of those things that um it's a conversation starter, and it's can be a conversation finisher too if
Exactly.
you handle it the right way. So
Exactly. So, guys out there, you're looking for a lady that's deep, that's got some kind of substance to her, and you like her besides how good she looks. You want to know who she is on the inside. Wear that button. See if she says something. And if she does about the button, you tell her what it means. It could be a good starting conversation that can take you in a much very positive and a different direction again
mhm.
when it comes to trying to do that relationship thing.
Yes.
Right at the bottom. See that information? You see it right down there?
Yes.
Hey, get with us.
Where
$5.
your hot
It's
button.
it's being given back to this ATR network to help them grow and help them continue, so that you can see, or in this case, not only see us, but get that good information that's going to help you out.
And you can get one by just email us, and
Mhm.
we will give you the instructions or
What's
directions or
the
whatever
email
you call it.
address?
The
I don't
email-
see the email address.
The email address
Uh-oh,
is
it's right there.
ttjt at takingthejourney together.com.
Say it 3 times.
ttjt.
No, they do it. Our show, of course, is every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have some people who are also watching and listening to us long distance. So, I mean, in other parts of the country, we know that we've got someone way in Hawaii that watches us. So, hey, thank you for all that. It was there. We really appreciate it. Let's start and dig into our show.
Before we do that,
oh, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about Saturday's show.
Okay, what was Saturday's show?
Saturday's show is Taking the Journey Together on WRUU.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you can also catch us on WRUU. Generally, what we're speaking about on ATR is different from
down below
from what we're speaking about on WRUU on the radio program. So you get twice the information and twice the taking the journey together. So you can really take a journey together. So WRUU is on 107.5?
Yes, 107.5.
Okay, 107.5. Ooh, I got that one right.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You really,
I know, as
really
long as we have been doing that, I should have remembered.
Yep.
But yeah. So anyway, now we need to talk about, go ahead and get started on what we're talking about. We're talking about today feelings. Men have feelings too.
You think men actually have feelings? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Well, I want to say something. If men have feelings, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, our show is all about, okay, then is that the reason why we'll smack that other guy?
Yes. If it
you
wasn't,
think his feelings was hurt?
If it wasn't for the fact that it was scripted, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because when you are in your feelings, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about later, that when men are in their feelings, it quite often comes out as anger or rage, or out of control, or even feelings that are not necessarily, they don't necessarily make sense. It's like overkill. And you're thinking, why? But that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. So our topic today, men have feelings too. Men have feelings too.
And this is part one, because this is going to go.
Oh, it's going to be some deep stuff we're going to talk about. Some people are going to like it. Some people are not going to like it. But men have feelings too.
And make sure you
get some men to watch this.
Yeah.
Get your man and get some men to make sure they watch it. I want the roughest. I want the toughest. I want the coolest. I want the smoothest. I want the hippest. I want the most rappers to come listen to this program, because every one of them know they got feelings too.
Yes.
And listen too. When should a man show his feelings? I want you to keep it in your mind. How should he, or should he always hold it back? Okay. So we want you through our show to answer those questions and make your comments of what you feel about that. Again, what?
When should a man show his feelings? And should he or should he hold
his
back?
Feelings? Exactly. So should he let his feelings go, or should he hold them back? Okay. So if you get a chance, make sure you give comments to us, and we're put it across the screen so you get a chance to see it, and we'll kind of go from there. But like usual with Taking the Journey, we always try to keep a balance. We always try to give you that golden nuggets. We always try to give you that essence that's all about having a healthy, balanced relationship.
Right.
Some people say a spiritual relationship, because it's not about being a tit for tat or tug of war. It's about both of us trying to be fair and equal in equity in a relationship, like both sides of the coin.
Right.
But today, I should say, we're going to focus on an imbalance that is a lot in the relationship, especially in our African American community, that kind of imbalance where a male is supposed to not show his feelings. A male is supposed to keep that to himself, and he's not supposed to say anything whatsoever. And the importance is because historically men have had to hide their feelings
Yes.
and not let their feelings go whatsoever. What did you want to say about that?
Well, because I was saying, what I was thinking was it does not just start automatically or suddenly. Men, you find, are taught from a very young age, don't cry in public. I don't want to see those tears, and called names if they start crying, and negative names that we don't use anymore, thank goodness. But these are all things that stigmatize young boys who grow up to be young men who have this these feelings locked in them that they don't know what to do with because they never learned how to use them as children.
And we got someone here, Mike Kelly. Good to see you again. We missed you last time about the slap, but glad to see you back again. Try not to show my feelings, but as I've gotten older, I am much more in touch with my inner feelings, especially with women in love. And that does happen when you get older.
Yeah.
It is something that you come around to kind of say to yourself, all the stuff I did younger, it really didn't take all that.
Yeah.
And that some of the stuff that in turn I was pushing down and not letting anybody feel, it really was a waste of time because they didn't care anyway.
Yes.
But
yes.
I should have cared about it. My emotions should have cared about it.
Right.
Me as a person should care about it
Mhm.
because I'm beginning to know more about myself and love myself
Yes.
as the older you get. Yes.
And sometimes, you just need to ask yourself when you say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've always done, this is how it's always been. You have to ask yourself, how's that working for you?
Okay. Mr. Ellis says, I am an alpha male, so I don't show my feelings in the public. People can call you a beta male. People will call you a beta male. Wow. We just were discussing with our editor about our engineer and also the CEO of ATR. We just discussing before we got on that a beta male, alpha male, it don't really make a difference. You can't just nail it on the alpha male who's all about, not showing their feelings. And I said, well, hey, it could be because we see the images from John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Al Pacino, and of course even what's the one the brother who played Blade? Wesley Snipes. He played that one particular gang guy. I can't remember what it was. And he showed no feelings whatsoever. So yeah, that's pushed hard. That's pushed hard when it comes to about men not showing their feelings, that kind of image, that kind of stereotype.
Yes.
So today we're going to try to unpack that or unpack it in this case and talk more about it, about the fact, do men have feelings? Or and if they do, should they hold them back or should they really let them go?
Yeah.
We are going to start from a strong place, first of all, where it first starts from.
Yeah.
I'm going to first start, or will you want to start from your side of your experience that has to do with males that were in your life?
Yeah.
And when it came to the emotions that they showed or they didn't show and how it impacted you as a woman.
Yeah. I grew up with seeing men growing up in the South. I grew up seeing men who were struggling to make it, and they were doing all the right things. They had a steady job, and they would go to the job every day, and they would come home with their meager earnings, and they would provide for the house, and they would do whatever. But the one thing that I noticed about these men is they drank. They didn't just drink when there was a social thing going on. They had a drink almost every night. They had, they would get drunk on a regular basis, and then they died early, and they died difficult deaths sometimes. And my case in point is, and these are men who didn't say anything about their feelings. They never let it out. My grandfather and my father both drank a lot. You assumed they were drunk, but you never really knew they were drunk. But they never talked about their feelings. They never said a cross word to anybody.
Mhm.
But, you know, my grandfather died. I have no idea why, you know, what caused it.
Mhm.
But he came home one day with the same symptoms as though he were drunk, but he never woke up the next morning.
Mhm.
You know, my father had a heart attack. And it's all because of you holding in the feelings, and because of, you know, the things that you do to try to keep those feelings at bay. If you don't talk about your feelings, if you don't share your feelings, they're still there.
That has been a very common remedy of escape for a lot of older brothers, especially in the what was the 50s and 60s generation? What was that generation?
For
The baby
they call them
boomers.
the baby boomers, but for
A long time in the black community, it was a
for
couple of
the black
generations of
community,
that,
it was
all the way to 60s and 70s and longer.
Jim Crow,
Yeah,
which brought about its own
yeah,
set of issues.
yeah. But it was a lot further than that.
Mhm.
So my point is, my dad and my uncles, who were from down south, and they were in the Korean War. I know a lot of them when they came back from the Korean War. That was one of the things that they used as a way to escape the reality
Mhm.
of coming back in this country and made to feel like they were less than a man. In this particular case, made to feel like their emotions didn't count. What they felt didn't count. And so they did a lot of drinking to hide their emotions. They did a lot of drinking to keep from facing that everyday experience that they saw, that they either couldn't get a job, or people treated them less as being a man, or even their relationship that they had with that woman made them feel like you have no reason to express your feelings and say what you feel, like the man's keeping you down, okay?
Yes.
Or you can't find a job. And
you've been treated
or you've been treated
unfairly
unfairly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I kind of looked into the little bit, even though my dad and my mom were not close. And so I came up without my dad. I didn't know my dad till way, way later on. And so I talked to my brother, not my brother, my uncle, who was an older brother of my dad. And I asked him, why was my dad drinking all the time, fighting and cussing? He'd had more than one woman. He beat up people and stuff like that. Been in jail many times. So I asked him, why was he like that? What was the reason he was like that? And I could really never talk with him. When I did, he was always drunk all the time. And he would listen to me, but I can tell he really didn't give a, I forgot what he said. He really didn't give a damn from that particular. And my older uncle told me that it wasn't like that. He didn't grow up that way, that he was very talented. He was very intellectual, and that he had a chance in the military to actually do architectural things. I don't know if they're building bridges. I don't know what they were doing. And so when he came out of the military, he wanted to practice becoming an architect. Well, back in that day, a black man coming out being an architect, that was not going to happen. And he said that's when he saw his brother, being my dad, started going downhill, started to drinking more and carousing more and all that other stuff. And sadly to say, like some of my uncles, my dad did die of alcohol, drinking too much. I think a pancreatic cancer or something like that, and passed away that way. I know one of my uncles who while he was in the hospital drinking, he was asking his kids to bring alcohol to him while he was in the hospital, knowing he was dying. So there's been so many ways through heroin and through and drinking that many black men, and still today, who are hiding their emotions for a lot of stereotypical reasons, and not opening up. And in turn, they're dying inside.
Right.
They're not feeling good about themselves inside. The relationships are causing themselves to. So we got somebody that's got something to say up here. I think we're going to put up real quick. Why don't you say something? Oh, Mrs.
Too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a young woman. We young people tend to want a thug. Thugs have to act or be tough. If not, the good girls don't want them because they would be considered to be soft. I want a man who can be both. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to look at as far as when we start talking about
who's at the center of all of this.
Yes.
What is at the center of why the men are holding their emotions and their feelings? What is that person, that being that is the attraction or the reason why that's happened. And we say that our beginning of our show, which is we're going to relate.
Yes.
But who are we talking about that man is relating to? The woman.
Yes.
The woman.
Yes.
So a lot of the reasons why, I would say most of the reasons why the emotions are not being expressed through the males is because of the woman. Meaning, what kind of relationship is he getting? Is he seeing? Is he feeling? Is he feeling? Is he feeling from that woman or women? First of all, it starts from mom, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yes, those things are important. So we're going to talk about that center point from the woman. How has that been developed? How has that appeal to men that women have that strength, that connection towards men? That's why women are very strong when it comes to the connection of men. So I know you men try to play like it not, but y'all know it because I've been around many of us brothers or men where we always talk about many times on women. Even besides football and the rest of it, we always talking about a woman. We're always talking about whatever, how we feel, yada, yada, yada. So that center person as being that woman in a relationship is very important. How did she relate to you in this matter that causes how you in turn either let your feelings go or you hold them in?
Yeah.
What are you talking about that?
Because a lot of times it comes down to how we present ourselves to the men when we first meet them and what kind of man we're looking for and how we want them to perceive us. And generally that's done in three ways, either based on our personal appearance. I'm so cute, you have to treat me a certain way. And just look at me, the world centers around me and what I feel and what I say and what I think, that's what's important. Or it's the intellect, where I have this degree, that degree, and the other degree, and I have been doing this, and I'm making this much money at my job, and I can hold down everything I want, and you are so great to be in my presence. And then we have so lucky, to be in my presence.
Okay. Am I lucky to be in your presence?
That depends on the day.
Oh, shoot. I had to ask you.
My
feelings are hurt, by the way.
No,
they're hurt.
No, because see, I need to explain that to you.
Oh, okay. Go
ahead. Depends on the day, because it depends on if I'm in that really loving and giving and warm and the other kind of hot mood. Yeah.
Okay. So again, you at the center of the tension when it comes to how our feelings get attached or not attached. I mean, for us to speak about it, or we just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah. At that particular point, maybe.
Okay.
Because you may feel that way. Okay. You may feel, boy, I'm glad I'm home today because she's in this great mood.
True.
So
it's still about you, but anyway, go ahead.
It is. But that's where I'm going.
Okay. So what's the other one?
And the other one is morality. And the morality is I do everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm a good girl.
Oh, didn't what's your name talk about?
Yes.
The good girl against the thug?
Yes. Yeah. Good girls don't want a thug. But good girls do want a thug. That's the myth.
The bad boy, yeah.
That's
the thug, you might say like the bad boy.
Exactly. But then you think about if she's that, if anyway, it just doesn't kind of fit together at that point.
And most of the intelligent women, you have to admit, most of them usually have that last attachment, which is I don't need no man. I'm highly educated.
That's the second one.
My job. I thought you talked about intelligence. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm highly educated. I don't need no man.
Got my own money.
My own money. Exactly.
I'm doing great on my job.
The school.
All of that.
The school told me that I went to Harvard school or the. What is it?
Yes, I went to Harvard.
Or you went to Howard. It would make a difference.
Exactly.
I learned that I could do things for myself and I can work, which you actually can.
You can.
So at the end, you hear a lot of times, well, I don't need no man. So
right.
I don't need your feelings either. I need anything.
If a woman tells you they don't need a man, they are lying through their teeth. Women, if you say that, you are lying through your teeth.
Okay, why is that?
Because it does not matter. Need is one of those things that you there are certain things that you are not going to want to do by yourself, and at that particular point you're going to be looking for a man for that particular in that particular incident.
Oh.
You need a man.
Oh, you mean like in this particular case, if I don't know how to work on the car and I have to go down the street to the mechanic who may happen to be a man, but it could be a woman too, then you're going to work on the car.
Exactly. You can't do that. You know, if you know how to do it, more power to you. But if you don't, you need somebody to do that for you.
Yeah, but
sometimes
we're not necessarily talking about the functionality of boom, click of a finger, like on DC Comics, whatever that guy's name was, the click of the finger, and men just disappear. And then therefore all women have to depend upon themselves, or vice versa. I hope you're not talking about being that extreme, even though sometimes when you hear that from that woman saying, I don't need a man, you think that's that extreme. She just clicked the finger, all men disappear, then all women just do things for themselves.
You know, what I have found is in most cases, when I talk to women who have said, I don't need a man in my life, these are women who have had so many disappointments because they have moved in the wrong direction or moved into the wrong relationship so many times that they have convinced themselves that they don't need anybody, that they're better off alone, but they're still looking. So what that says to me is you're selling yourself a bill of goods to get through to the next day. And you know, the thing of it is, if you don't need a man, then why would you be in a position where you are trying to still attract a man? Okay, so it's kind of like,
did you attract me? Since is this our second, relationship, second marriage? Did you try to attract me? Did you do the same thing?
No, we attracted each other.
Oh, we did. Is that how that was?
We did, because we fell into a conversation that we did not expect. I was not looking for anyone. You were not looking for anyone. We were just brought together. And that initial conversation that went on forever and 3 days.
So were you comfortable with me expressing my feelings?
Absolutely.
Or did I do that?
Oh, we talked about so many different things. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, knowing me, probably so. Probably so. So on that last one, and I was trying to get to this last one on the intellectual side, we know that there was a guy who wrote something about the intellectual side connecting to a man, which says a man doesn't really have nothing to do with his feelings. He really just operates mostly logically or intellectually. And therefore, if you really want to attract that man or stay in a relationship with the man, then you have to act like a what?
A man.
Yes, act like a man.
Yes.
So everybody knows, and everybody knows that book that this person, I'm just saying, this person wrote. That's all like, think like a man if you want to get like a man or act like a man. Am I right?
Yes. And a lot of people have taken that to heart, you know. And especially the morality lady.
Yes.
You know, the morality ladies really take
the
that
good girl.
to heart.
She wears those,
and the intellectual ones too.
Okay.
Because they have gotten into that frame of mind in the workplace.
So you got the good girls that many times they like to wear those granny panties.
Yes, where the granny panties keep the legs crossed at the ankles when they sit down.
They don't mess
around. Yeah, boy. First one to church on Sunday and last one to leave, and love the pastor. So.
They're not like all those other girls on the street. I mean, they even talk about them in the projects.
No.
I used to date a lot of women, some women, I should say, in the projects. Some of the contract work I did in the IT world, I would be in St. Louis, been Chicago, Minneapolis, Kansas City, those different places, Tennessee, Utah. Well, not necessarily, but and I would always sometimes build some relationship with women who were and people call them projects. I just call them housing communities. And I do know that many a times the ones that I met, a lot of people had a lot of stereotypical attitudes about them and thought that they were fast or said that they were lazy and didn't work not why they were there. Many of them had more moral convictions and integrity kinds of way of how they handled themselves than some of the sisters I knew who were going to college, who were doing on jobs, and who would look down on them, their nose down on them, and said that they were not good enough. And I would say to you, many of them, the ones that I did date and get to know them, they became like good friends, and they allowed my feelings many times to be expressed, which is why I hung around them a lot. And yet I was doing IT work. working for, top 100, top 500 companies in that particular city, making what people would think very good money. And, those kind of jobs had a lot of respect for me when I walked in, working on servers, working on computers, working all that other kind of fancy stuff. And I'd go to that particular community and that was a particular place. And I felt at home. I felt good. They made me feel good from the standpoint of feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It does not matter where you're coming from or where you've been. It's about being humane to other people. And so, when we are looking at this from the relationship point of view, we have to say that these were three major traditionally stereotypical and honorable ways that are being used to keep a man.
Yes. We're also attract a man,
get a man, and
but also used to keep a man in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or long-term traditional collaboration. These techniques are either used all the way one way, either more intellectual, more religious, or what was the first one? Cute. Or a combination of the two, and they kind of continue on with that pattern in that relationship. And what I find, or what we find many times, is what happens is that man then is just taken for granted. This is what I did to get him. This is what I'm doing to keep him, and I've never really been concerned about him in detail in any way.
It's not about him in that situation, because in those situations, a woman will spread her feelings all over the house.
My mind was thinking about something else, but that's my problem. That was my
problem. She will cry if she doesn't get her way.
Yes.
She will throw a fit. She will, leave. She will do all kinds of dramatic things, keep the drama alive to get her way. And while he's sitting there, and it could be, I just can't do it. But she doesn't bother to talk to him about that, because I want $50 so I can get a new bag. And but when we met, you said that you were working and you were making all this money on your job. Well, I still am, but you should still buy me this.
Exactly.
And he can't afford it, but that doesn't matter. So he can't talk to her about it. She's not wanting to be rational about it, because this is just the way it is. It's the wifey show.
He got it wifey show. So before we move into the next transition, because we just looked upon the main center of attraction here being that woman that has those different techniques and strategies of how she attracts, or in this particular case, keeps that man in the relationship, which is what we're referring to in the area of a thriving relationship, a healthy relationship. And we start moving into the healthiness things that we need to take a look at, or why these things kind of happen. I'm going to go back to the questions that were said the first time, and hopefully hear someone say a couple their feelings. So from what you've heard so far, or from your own experience, those who are listening, please go in the comments. Do you still think, and do you still feel that when it comes to showing a man's feelings, he shouldn't be doing that? We heard an alpha male say, as an alpha male, I don't do that. Or should he, let his feelings go? And if he does, is he more, as they call, feminine, or more gay-like?
Or a beta male.
Or a beta male. He called it beta male. Some people say he's more feminine-like, or more gay. It's one of those words they use. Tell us a little bit more about it before we kind of move a little bit in deeper into this. It's a controversial thing in a relationship.
It is, but one of the things that struck me when he said he doesn't show his emotions in public.
Let's go back over that too real quickly. Where's he up here?
Right there. He says, I don't show my feelings in public. My question is, do you have a place, or a woman or someone that you can go to in private and share your feelings?
Yeah, come back and tell us that. Do you have someone in All right, we're back again. I'm sorry, but
Wow.
I know there were probably tons of alpha males and alpha females that were out there hearing us talk about men feelings. They said, hell no. And they cut the cable. They blocked with a whole bunch of aluminum the wireless waves to come and hit us, and we got cut off. That's how important you can see that it is. But you were saying that I think that alpha male guy.
Yeah,
I think
Mr. Ellis.
Yeah, I think come back and tell us, Mr. Ellis. Do you have some place that you're able to land, as people would say, to talk, express your feelings? Just as I said, when I used to go to housing communities, in a particular sister that I would date or befriend, and she'd be a friend to me, it'd be my place that I could go to and express my feelings, and she'd be open to it. Do you do that in private, or you just don't do it at all, make a difference public or not?
And and so while
we wait for him to give us a comment,
for that to resonate, or for him to come back around, it's one of those things. And when you said that, you brought to my mind about this a friend that I had when I was in high school.
I think you said that.
And he
said, I don't do it. So he doesn't do it at all.
At all.
No, he just keeps it to himself. Wow.
Okay, see, I can understand that, but at the same time, I understand it's so not.
Yeah, but I mean, if he wants to roll that way, he wants to roll that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of been a way that it's been kind of shifted and strategized to actually be set up and molded for men to operate in a role that way. Sadly to say. I say sadly to say from that end.
Yeah.
And we're going to go on to talk a little bit more about it. But if that's how it rolls, that's how it rolls. I'm just saying too that, at least for my particular end, even though in public I show my emotions to a certain extent, probably emotion that we're talking about, which is a bad emotion, no doubt about it. But I did have the lady friends that I knew in my life that was able to release and talk about my emotions, and they made me feel like it was okay to be able to do that. Yeah.
And I think that's what most men need is someone to tell them that. I had a friend when I was in high school who had this girlfriend that I told him, don't date this girl. And he did it anyway. And then he would, catch me at school and he'd tell me, she did this and she did that. And I'm like, yeah, but at least I would listen. I would listen to him. I wouldn't say anything because he was going to go do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, anyway. You were the mini sounding boards.
I was the sounding board. And finally,
because you was a good girl. Usually a good girl gets to be the friend to the bad boy.
Yeah. But, he was not a bad boy. Actually, he befriended me first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, told me about something that was going on that I needed to know about. And that's how we became friends. But this particular situation, his friends were like, "Oh, well, she's a cheerleader, so you may as well," and blah 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 blah.
You were no cheerleader.
No, not me. The girl.
Oh, the girls. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, she is not for you, y'all. And eventually, I finally told him. I said, "Okay." And this was wrong for me to do. I said, "If you're gonna keep doing what you want to do, why are you asking me what you should do?" And so I'm just not going to say anything anymore. And so the message got through loud and clear. And he's, so they eventually ended up breaking up. And I'm like, and then I had all the sob stories over that. But the point that I'm making here is you have to find people that you can let that out with, because he was a basket case. Through that. And
that's why he probably didn't let his emotions out with the cheerleader girl.
No, she wasn't gonna have
it. Basket case. I ain't got no time for you.
Yeah. She was not gonna have it. He had to play the alpha male around.
Yeah.
Which he was not. And so. But
remember, our guy that runs ATR, he don't like that. Putting that label on alpha male and saying that they don't like to let the emotions being expressed. So we can't do that anymore.
Okay,
we can't do that.
At the time,
we'll just put it on the beta males.
Gotcha.
Not the alpha males. Okay. We don't do that anymore.
At the time, I didn't know alpha, beta, or any of the others.
Delta.
They were just males.
Okay.
And so.
Okay.
And still, I get confused on it. They're just males.
in the transition
Mhm.
of talking about thriving in healthy relationship
Yeah.
based on friendship, which is what we're all about,
Mhm.
which is what we push. We need to appeal to men in their emotions,
Exactly.
because by doing that, then you treat that man like he is your true friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't, we don't treat our friends any old way,
Yeah.
but we will treat our boyfriends and our husbands however we want to at any particular time, and give them the perception that, well, I'm your girlfriend or I'm your wife. You just got to take it.
Yeah, I ain't your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
But
can be friends and be in love, but you married your lover.
yeah,
You didn't marry your friend.
but
You
at
ain't
the
got
same
correlation with your friend.
time, they don't want you to have
Mm-hmm.
a female friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's me, just me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, it's still just me.
Mm-hmm.
No, you cannot have a friend that's a female.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your boys, but you can't have a female friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like it sends you down a road of, what do I do? What do I place my emotions?
So let me ask you, in our
Mhm.
relationship, has there been some female friends in our relationship that you felt comfortable or you felt uncomfortable with how they have related to me?
Well, see, I'm not the right one to ask that question,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like friends are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I have met a lot of people from your past,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no problem with them.
Mm-hmm.
They have been respectful to me.
Mm-hmm.
They have been,
You a good girl, that's why. Look at you as being a good girl. That's why they've been respectful.
yeah,
Sometimes they're more respectful to you than they are to me.
yeah, but
And yet, I was supposed to be their friend.
but at the same time, you
Uh-huh.
should never judge a book by its cover.
What was you ready to slice them up? Was that what it was? If you could, you
Never. I don't do. I tend to slice people with my mouth.
Exactly. You just
You
so you kept your feelings to yourself.
I really didn't, because they
Okay.
didn't treat me like, in a way that I needed to.
Yeah.
I
They did like you better.
I mean,
They usually do like you better.
yeah.
Exactly.
There was one that I really liked,
Mm-hmm.
but her issues clashed with my issues,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had to have a couple of words, and that was the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that was the reverse Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I was protecting you on that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes what she's saying is, sometimes if a man is open and comfortable with expressing his emotions, then sometimes some women will take well advantage of it
Mhm.
and use that from the standpoint of, hey, most women don't pay attention or say that, you're supposed to let your emotions go. It could be even your girlfriend or your wife. But hey, I'm open to listen to your emotions. I'll be your sounding board. I'll be your friend. And end up, it's really another manipulation that they may be trying to use to, pull you away, or, or make your relationship with who you're with just all messed up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Meaning they're not really trying to be your friend
Yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah.
Just trying to pretend it. Yeah.
So, but I am very open with that, because I feel like there are probably some situations or some feelings
Mm-hmm.
that I may not understand, because we had such different backgrounds, such different upbringings.
Mm-hmm.
Our lifestyles, until we got together,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't opposites,
Mm-hmm.
but they were far removed from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some other females that understand some of the things that you're going through,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a better friend to you in that situation than I can, because I have nothing to draw from. I can just sit and listen and go, oh, I'm sorry, but you don't need to hear and I'm sorry. You need to hear something else that has to do with, how to deal with it or how to handle it.
Well,
and I don't even know where to start.
That would be
that.
few and far and in between when it comes to that, and most of the time in my particular life. But the important thing is, a friend to a man, it is important, as you know, because it will help him also feel good about himself.
Yeah.
You being a friend to a man and your man also helps me to feel good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
It is important to you It would be important to the family and the community.
Yeah.
When that man feels good about himself, then those different areas are built up.
Yes.
So
And he walks into the world with a level of confidence
yes.
that would not be there otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, and it's difficult when you are trying to feel like, how should I handle myself? And I know I'm an emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things, you know, you're a very emotional man.
Mm-hmm.
I had I had an uncle, my Uncle Howard. My grandmother used to say he was her younger brother, one of her younger brothers, and she used to say, Howard will cry at the drop of a hat, you know, and he would, you know, he was very emotional, you know, and that was one of my first experiences with men and their emotions. These uncles, they were these large men. Well, maybe they were just large to me because I was so small. But when my great grandmother died, who was the one that raised them, who they considered their mother, when she died, we were at the wake, and these men were just bawling, just, you know, out loud bawling. And nobody went to them and said, shh,
hey,
you can't do that.
You know what? I don't like going to funerals.
I don't either.
Because as a man, when I hear women cry, especially if it's a certain woman, I don't care if she's paid to cry. That's what they say. So come
I've not been to one of those.
to pay to cry. And they have that kind of crying that's like a well kind of cry.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't take it.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Yeah.
I walk out of it because I cannot
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna cry. I don't want to do that for
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
here. That kind of cry. So yeah, I understand how the emotional part of that sadness and that mourning can really draw on the heartstrings on men. And our feelings, men's feelings, many times, the emotional males. The emotions of males are many times looked upon as being weak by some females.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you know, you a male, you ain't supposed to show no emotion.
Yeah.
You're supposed to keep that to yourself. If you do, you're weak. And the sad thing about it, when you hear some women who actually do that or actually say that, what you find out is that they be more accepting of that emotion of anger and rage. Yeah. They'll be more accepting of that.
Yeah.
And say that kind of emotion is love.
Yeah.
Okay?
But that's more associated with male behavior.
Yes.
You know.
They call it toxic male.
Well, it is. But, you know, it's still associated more with this is how males behave. It's that, look at the animal kingdom.
Yeah. But, you know, you have to admit, unfairly, when it comes to racism, the image of a black man has been set up to be in the emotion that is being pushed, that is okay for him to show is that anger, that rage, and you get that label. He's an angry black man, and we see what happens. Young men get shot, they get killed right on the spot. Older men too, at the same time, get disrespected because that image, when it comes to emotion, that's all right. For him to express himself is angry, but yet we're going to attach it to being violent, being negative, being bad, and therefore, hey, he's got to go.
Or, as Prada Too Crazy said earlier, be labeled a thug, which gives them an opportunity or an easier way to dismiss them from society, from importance,
or demonize them.
Exactly, you know, and that word thug has become a new way to demonize and put down a black male who is acting out his emotion. You know,
I think about that movie, the movie that we showed to the young kids over in Savannah under Miss Trotter's. What is it?
Her program, her summer program,
called Savannah Youth Program.
Savannah
and we go there
City.
every summer to talk with those young folks over there.
Yeah.
Remember a movie we showed called Monster?
About
a young man from New York. His father was an architect. His mother was a teacher.
Something like that.
And he basically was a crossover kid in New York. Crossover man. He not only dealt with people in the hood, but also dealt with white folks and Chicanos and Hispanics. And he was
very
a photographer. Exactly. And they caught him in the situation that a thug guy, that's what they showed him, actually set him up in. and in turn he got associated with it, and then was on trial because at the end, in the middle, this guy got killed in one of the neighborhood stores.
Mm-hmm.
And all through that particular trial, they demonized that young man, and then they finally shouted out who they said he was. He was a monster.
Yes,
he's a monster.
And that's what happens to a lot of our young men, especially.
Yeah.
They get labeled that way,
Yeah.
and it's not true. It's not who they are, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. But then we have to take into consideration how much women help them
Yeah.
to keep that. When you look at the fact that they have this old adage that they say that men shouldn't show their feelings. So women raise their young children, their boys, their
Don't you
sons,
cry. Yeah.
to within that whole frame of mind
Mhm.
of don't cry. You
Mhm.
you know,
Stop acting like a girl.
yeah, be a man.
Stop acting like a sissy.
You're a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
You're a child. You fail. You hurt yourself. Cry.
We were in a dollar store just yesterday, and there was a young little boy, African American boy, and his sister, and they were in the dollar store. They were playing with the mom ahead, and I was wondering who was whining and crying the most about what couldn't be got, what toy wanted, and why you keep on messing with me. Turn around the corner, I look behind. It was the boy.
Yeah.
It was a young boy.
The little girl was standing there like, here he goes again.
Exactly.
But the mom was allowing him to have his emotions.
She did.
She was allowing him to do.
I wanted to beat his butt.
And she was talking to him as he was doing this, and giving him reasons and things like that. And he was still doing his thing. And by the time they left, he was okay.
Yeah, he was.
But at least he was able to express his feeling. It was not, oh, wait till we get in the car, or wait till we get home, or when I get you home. No, it was I commend her in the way she was allowing this young male.
I thought she was going to cuss him out and just give him a hard time.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was thinking I like to whip his butt, but anyway. But still, I mean, that was one of those situations.
But that's what you were raised with.
Yeah. I was raised. My butt would have got whooped. My mom would have whipped my ass. There's no doubt about it. She would have a spot opening like that. But that again, that you said, that's a continuation that continues on in the relationship. Mm-hmm. What's another one of these stereotypes that we deal with men that makes it hard for them to either let their emotion go or just keep it to themselves?
Those are the ones that I can think of the most. I hesitate to say, that a lot of times, because we don't have clear boundaries as to what we should and should not do and how we should and should not treat a male, we just fall back onto what has gone before. And when we fall back onto what has gone before, it's continuing the same stereotypes of weakness or perceived weakness, and that is probably one of the worst things to do, because we also bring them into our relationship. It's okay, if I'm supposed to have a healthy, thriving relationship, but I don't know how to deal with you when you get emotional. I don't know what to do when you start crying. I don't know if I am supposed to walk over and hug you, or if I'm supposed to say, baby, I understand, just get it out, or if I'm supposed to say, okay, see you later.
Yeah, be evasive.
Or say, why are you crying? You crying again? That type of thing. It's a lot of times you don't know what to do with that if you have not gotten in touch with.
How have you dealt with? Because sometimes I can get into anger and a rage over things that have built up and built up and built up, and it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I may start saying to you on a low level, let's look at this. We shouldn't be dealing with this because this went this way. Yeah. And you go, okay. Then I go, no, I said we should look at this because we're doing it this way, and now it's flopping this way. And you go, well, okay. Then I go, no, we should look at this and this. It's flopping this way, and now it's flopping this way. And you go, whoa.
Yeah, because one of the things I have learned is that when it gets to that point, it's not about whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's about something else, and sometimes it's about 3 or 4 something else's.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to, within myself, think about what are you dealing with, what are you going, what do you have to deal with at this particular time, what's been going on, who have you talked to recently, and
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the things that have come up through that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my own internal inventory to try to get to where I need to be, and decide, is it something that involves me, or is it something that I just need to eventually be a sounding board about?
Exactly.
And I'm still learning how to do that.
Exactly.
How to
Sometimes
handle
you
that.
avoid it too at the same time.
Yeah,
But especially when they get at that higher level. We did learn
that.
last time about bridge statements when we talked about last
Mhm.
week about
The
that
last few
slap that
weeks.
went around
Yes.
the world. So bridge statements are
Yes.
important. Hey, listen, our show is almost about up. I don't know where our particular guy who's the engineer is supposed to be. I don't know where he's at, but he's telling us we got 1 minute, so we're about gone.
And
hey,
so
we are going to go on and talk next week. Part 2, we're going to talk about what are some of the things that, as a female, center on us, that she can do to make us feel better. That's right,
Yes.
feel better in a relationship. It's important for us to feel good in our relationship. Hey, till next time, watch out.
Take the journey together.
Yes, take care. Peace.
Like this.